Hello, please try and look past the bad production values of this video. Please also try and look past the fact that I'm not the most good-looking, nice-sounding, charismatic person you've ever seen. Please try and focus instead on what I'm about to say, because in terms of business and success, this is probably the most important thing you're ever going to hear. Now here it is. This is the foundation, the cornerstone. Business performance in terms of profitability depends on three things. And in order, those three things are market, competitive position, and strategy. Okay? Market, competitive position, and strategy. Now, let's talk about these for a second. Market. Hopefully we all know what a market is. It's a group of customers. You have a group of customers that are lined up to give you their money in exchange for the thing that you're delivering to them. Okay? They have to be there. That's the market. Number two, competitive position. You have to be in a position to meet the requirements of the market. You have to be able to deliver the product or service or whatever it is that you're selling. Okay, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to do it well. And then the third thing, strategy, for the purposes of this conversation, that's everything you do, how you run your company, the business decisions you make, your knowledge of business, everything you do on a personal level, that's strategy, okay? Now, before we go any further, this is a revelation to a lot of people, because a lot of people assume that the single most important factor in profitability is what we are calling strategy. It's your quality of your business decisions and how much you know about business and your knowledge of the market and your knowledge of the industry and all that kind of stuff. That's not actually the most important thing. The number one thing, as we talked about, is the presence of the market. The market has to be there. And number two thing is your competitive position. Okay? Now, I remember 10 years ago, I'm an older guy, so I remember 10 years ago, this is a lot of younger people don't remember 10 years ago, I remember the company Yahoo. And they were bringing in an endless parade, it seemed, of celebrity CEOs to try and save this company. And it didn't matter who they got in there or what their track record of success was, they couldn't save that company. And when you think about the principle that we are just discussing, it explains it perfectly. Because in the case of Yahoo, the market was no longer there. It had dried up. And even if you could argue possibly that it still kind of was, Yahoo did not have the competitive position anymore. It had been overshadowed by Google and Apple and Microsoft, a lot bigger companies that had bigger resources. So it didn't matter what you did as a strategy if you didn't have the market and you certainly didn't have the competitive position. It doesn't lead to profitability. Okay? Let's do another example that might briefly just clear this up and help you understand a bit more of the implications of this. Now, where I am in my hometown here of Winnipeg, Canada, the business capital of the world, they're building a lot of houses. And you have a lot of volume builders that are building an endless parade of houses. And it seems like you have an endless line of customers with their wallets open that are willing to pay exorbitant amounts of money for a house. And these people keep coming. And they're buying houses faster than the builders can build them. And this has been going on for years, like 15 years at least, without abating. And these builders that build houses are making money hand over fist. And, you know, it's interesting because I've had dealings with builders over the years, as have a lot of people. And the thing that struck me personally when dealing with builders in general as a group was, number one, how incompetent they were. Number two, how lacking in sort of business principles they were. You know, they really didn't know much about business. And number three, how unethically they treated their customers, their suppliers, their employees, pretty much everybody. Now, normally, that would be a recipe for disaster. But that has not harmed or stood in the way of the business success of these builders that build houses. Now, why is that? Well, if we look at it through this lens here, number one, Market. They've got the market. People want houses, and the market seems to be almost infinitely big. They cannot satisfy the market. There's always somebody lined up to buy a house, no matter what the conditions, no matter what the price. Number 2, competitive position. Now, why can't I make money building houses? That would be pretty nice to get part of that action. Well, I would never be able to do it because I don't have access to land. You need a lot, you need a property on which to build a house, and I don't have that. If you want to buy a house, the people that control the land are the builders and developers, and you have to go through them to get land. And so I'd say their competitive position is very strong. So they've got the market and they've got the competitive position. Those are both there in spades. So it almost doesn't really matter how incompetent you are or how unethical you are or how ignorant you are. You're going to make money, and you're going to make a lot of money. Now, if we look at the world through this lens, okay, the implications of this principle, this one simple principle, okay, it guides our business decisions. If we own a business or we run a business, this helps guide what we do. Think of entrepreneurs and startup companies. Think of a great startup idea. What industry do we want to go into? What type of product do we want to create? We've developed this technology. We could commercialize that in many different ways. We could apply it to many different businesses. We could sell it to many different types of people in different situations. This helps frame those decisions very well. Secondly, from a career perspective, if you're wanting to know what type of work you should get into, what type of skills you should acquire, what type of companies you'd like to work for, this principle also frames a lot of those decisions too. And thirdly, it helps frame our investing decisions. Okay, if you're looking at the world in terms of what we've talked about, this principle, you're looking less at how companies are internally run, and you're looking more in terms of where the markets are and the competitive positions between different companies and things like that. Okay, so this principle underscores many different areas in the business world and beyond. Okay, now, how do I know this? Well, I just want to say right off the bat, this certainly did not come from me. This is not original to me. This is not my own opinion. This came from something called PIMS. PIMS, P-I-M-S. I will put a link in the description if you're interested in checking this out, and I highly encourage you to do so. But this was a study. It was started in the 1960s. It was operated by GE, General Electric, for many years, and then it went independent, and then I believe it sort of became part of Boston Consulting Group in the States today. And maybe I'll do a whole video on that to explain it, because it really is a goldmine for understanding business beyond what you would learn in an MBA or just, textbooks on the different areas of business. Okay, but I highly encourage you to check it out. This was kind of the principle they begin with, and then they build on top of it. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope this is useful. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if this was helpful at all. And I wish you nothing but the best. You guys are awesome as usual, and I will see you on the next one. So take care.